So Daryl Morey spoke today on two different outlets, and it was almost like a continuation of his exit presser. He said some things that were expected, but also made some intriguing comments about Joel Embiid, Nick Nurse, the roster construction overall, and even AI. So today we will react to all of it, break it all down, and do we think the Sixers can actually get things right next season? Well, we'll talk about all of it. If you don't want to sit through a couple hours of interviews, we got you covered with all of the important points. So welcome in to Philly Take with RB. I'm RB. Do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Draft lotteries on Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. We will be live stream reacting. Hopefully the Sixers keep their pick. Well, I'll tell you what happened last night, man. Something even more shocking. The New York Knicks are up 2-0 on the Celtics. We live streamed that game. I can't believe the Celtics choked in the way that they did. Again, almost a reflection from game one. The Celtics have had two Sixers-like losses in the playoffs back-to-back, and I can't believe it. Are the Knicks going to win this series? Let me know your thoughts down below. But let's jump into the 76ers. Okay, waste no time because Daryl Morey went firing today on 97.5 The Fanatic and the Rights to Ricky Sanchez pod. So we'll break down all of what he said. But he starts it off by saying that the Sixers roster going into next season will be better than it was going into last year, where, again, the Sixers had the third best odds to win the Eastern Conference. So Daryl Morey continually brought up the odds, and he continually brought up, hey, we were supposed to be a good team, and we have this three-star model. And, you know, one thing he said today was we would rather have the chance of being great with 3 stars and a really well put together roster and hope that everybody stays healthy rather than blowing it up. He even said, you know, when you have a bad season, heads turn sometimes, but ours is not. We're running it back pretty much, and we're going to rock with it and hope everybody stays healthy. Daryl Morey talked about the losing season, and I was live tweeting during this, and this one was one of the quotes that blew up. I thought it was hilarious. He said, "We made a trade for Quentin Grimes, and we thought we could make a run. We thought we could do a Miami, play our way in to the finals, essentially win the play-in, get the 8 seed, and go to the finals." Daryl Morey, I understand, has a job to do, and I was surprised, even just to hear the tone, the way he came out, even on the Rights to Ricky Sanchez. Like, it kind of gets me annoyed a bit that he's a little bit nonchalant. You know, like, I want to see a GM that's like so pissed off when they wake up in the morning that they're not going to accept defeat again. They're not going to accept subpar results. And I feel like the whole vibe that we have gotten from this organization since the end of the season, even mid-season, is, well, this is just an outlier year. You know, everything went wrong. It's going to be just fine next year. Like I said yesterday, the Sixers fans are not buying into that anymore. They don't have the hope. You need to reel them back in because comments like this just kind of demoralize them, you know? Like, did you really think that post-trade deadline they were going to make a run? That they were going to be the Miami Heat with Spoelstra and Jimmy and all these, you know, JV players? I mean, come on, man. Come on, let's be real here. Daryl Morey also said, quote, "This is the first losing season I've had. More deep playoff runs than I think any other executive. Never been to the lottery because we only win. I'm pretty good at the winning thing." Look, Daryl Morey was starting to get a little testy with Mike Missinelli. Shout out to Mike Miss for actually pressing Daryl Morey. But yo, Daryl Morey was like, hey, I'm that dude. I can fix this roster. I can make it happen. Well, guess what, Daryl? You better be the guy to fix it. Because like Brian Windhorst said, if this season starts and things start to go downhill, you're gone, Nurse is probably gone, and heads are rolling. So you want to come in here and speak with this confidence, you better get the job done. No outlier years, right? Last season, you punted the season when Joel Embiid got hurt, and then you still brought him back for the playoffs, and the Sixers lost in the first round. And this season, you ended up tanking midway through. It was a disaster. I have backed Daryl Morey for a long time, but you're coming in speaking with this type of confidence? We're all ticked off. You better get the job done. Otherwise, you're the first one on the chopping block. Speaking of one thing that people doubted throughout the season was Daryl Morey's evaluation of talent. Daryl Morey on the Rights to Ricky Sanchez talking about AI. He said, "My squint comment for sure should be made fun of. That one is a no-brainer. You can use that one forever. I think the AI comment was whatever. It's a little unfair. All 30 teams use AI and machine learning. Do I think every team is utilizing some type of artificial intelligence to their advantage? Yes, I agree with Morey in that aspect. But to say that he uses it for roster decisions is just bonkers. It is wild. And to just play off the squint comment like that was just some funny joke, right? He's just laughing the whole time. And the guys on Rice to Ricky Sanchez are laughing. Oh, Daryl, it's so funny. It's so funny. We got made out to be a joke of the NBA this year. Man, Daryl Morey needs to come on Philly Take, man. I will ask him good questions. I won't insult him, but I'll ask him the real stuff. You know what I mean? And it's just like, why would you say that the Sixers are using AI to make decisions about the team? You can use AI to produce data and analytics and things like that, which we know you're high on. But in terms of using it to build the team, it's crazy, especially with the type of season that they had. And the squint comment will forever be a meme, and it will forever be remembered how bad the Sixers were. What were they, like 2-30 after that? Anyway, Daryl Morey talked about youth on this team, something that he doubled down on at the end of the season. He said that he did not make this team athletic enough, things like that. And he says, quote, next year, our rotation will be guys 25 and younger. That's all great and dandy. You have guys here on the roster, guys that he mentioned, Grimes and Bona and guys like that. But who are they going to get if they don't get this draft pick that's 25 and younger, right? You need to inject youth. You need to build around that. I think what's going on is Daryl Morey is watching the playoffs and he's saying, hey, look at these young teams that are playing well. But keep in mind, you still need to find that balance, and it still has to come back to your superstars being healthy and being able to play. Daryl Morey says, last season was pretty clear. I put this on me. What I did not do well is make sure we had the youth and athleticism to make sure we get through the season. That is something we will do next year. He keeps talking about these vets like Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon and Andre Drummond and saying, yeah, we had the guys when we're in the race, when we're in the dance in the playoffs that are going to help us win the chip. But what we didn't have is the youth that can sustain throughout the season. Well, guess what, Daryl? That's how you build a team now. And I'm not confident that Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon and these guys were going to help win the championship because, quite honestly, they were not that good. You have to come in day one and play the young guys, and hopefully this season was a pure example of that for you. So let's hope he's not lying about that. This team needs to get quicker, faster, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it comes back to the superstars, and your top three, which Daryl Morey said the Sixers are essentially married to, is going to have to be healthy. Now, Daryl Morey talked about Joel Embiid's arthroscopic knee surgery. Mike Miss was pressing him on it. He would not get into the specifics, but he said, quote, he had a scope. It looks optimistic. He's with the doctor who did Kawhi Leonard. This is more of a complex case where these things can trend in a positive direction over time, and they will. And he says, quote, we are committed to Joel, Paul, and Tyrese. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you had any fantasies of the Sixers blowing it up and getting younger and starting over, it's not happening this offseason. Daryl Morey made his bed, and he's willing to stand with it. He is saying we're going to live this out and see another day and hope and pray that the big three can play together. Well, guess what, Daryl Morey? You better be right. You better be right. There's no margin of error. There's no room for, oh, this is an outlier year. No. If they come into next season and they're not playing, they're not healthy, they're not focused, whatever it is, you are gone. This is your last hurrah, Daryl. This is it. He talked more about Joel Embiid on the Rights to Ricky, saying, quote, if Joel comes back, it's going to be at a very high level. I don't see a scenario where he's fading. I see him playing at a high level, and that's so important to him that he will either get himself there or not. That's my feeling. He referenced guys like Kawhi this year who played deep in the playoffs in the first round. Brooke Lopez years ago. He keeps talking about these players, even though Joel's a different type of player, so I don't necessarily agree. But all I'm saying is that you better have the best care, the best doctors. How come nobody asked Daryl Morey about the medical staff? Are we going to get a new medical staff that can actually get one or two players healthy through the entire season? Why don't they ask these type of questions? He also talked about Joel Embiid saying, quote, nobody knows what Joel Embiid's future will be. We're optimistic, but nobody knows. We have a wide range of outcomes. We're optimistic, but part of sports is to not know. We are maybe the most unknown team in the NBA. And soon you're going to be the most irrelevant team in the NBA if you don't wake up and put results on the stat sheet, on paper, in front of our eyes. Sixer fans are tired of getting led on by lies. How come nobody asks, why did you lie to the fans all season? None of this fan base deserve this. Die hard. Really just, homegrown talent and fans and just people that are so passionate about this team feel like there's no hope in sight. And you lied all season to sell tickets. It's crazy, man. Daryl Morey was asked about Joel Embiid playing in the Olympics. He says, quote, teams don't have control over that. We were very positive about his Olympics experience. It was a proud moment for him. And yeah, it was a proud moment. But this quote right here tells me that, again, it all stems from the higher ups. There's no accountability. There's nobody willing to have balls and put their foot down sometimes and say, you know what? We need to do what's best for the team. In this instance, I understand, but knowing everything that you knew, right? Consulting with the 9 doctors, Daryl Morey kept saying, we had the good information. We had the right information. Well, you didn't have the right information because Joel Embiid was not ready to play on day 1 of the season. And he barely played. And when he played, he looked awful. So, again, I'm tired of hearing them dance around these questions. It's frustrating. Daryl Morey commented on some of the guys who currently have player options to decide on. He says, I believe Kelly, I think Drummond, I think Eric, they're all likely to come back. Oh, and back to the Grimes thing, Daryl Morey kept talking about Quentin Grimes as if he's already on the roster. Does that mean the Sixers know they're re-signing him? Well, you better get that done. You better not let Brooklyn sway him away. All I'm saying, man, is Daryl Morey better come through. It seems like the Sixers are keeping the roster. He sounded so intent on we need that draft pick, and I agree. It's not every year that you get a top 6 pick, but Daryl Morey, better hope and pray the Sixers can get that talent and that they get the right guy, because that could inject life into this franchise. That could get them back on track. Either way, you're sending a pick to OKC this year or next year, but you need it right now. Like, this could be the deciding factor on if you keep your job after next season, if I'm being completely honest right now. And other than that, I mean, like he said, you have to get younger and more athletic. Lastly, Nick Nurse. Daryl Morey says a Maxey McCain backcourt can work. This is the stuff that's going to be up to Nick, but historically it's been hard. The only way it can work is if you have a strong rim-protecting big who can make it work. And guess what? I don't know if Joel Embiid can even jump off the floor right now. I'd like to believe he could be. I'd like to believe that when we used to talk about Joel being underrated as a defender and being a pretty good defensive rim protector, that he can get back to that. But again, we don't know. We don't know anything, and he didn't even answer the questions about Joel's injury. So Morey says he also likes Maxey and Grimes pairing defensively. So it sounds like Grimes is going to be back, but how much are you going to pay him? Are you going to pay Yabusele? Lastly, Daryl Morey asked what Nurse could have done better. Quote, even Nurse said the messaging early. It was really more myself, some Joel, some Paul. Honestly, we all could have just had a better approach early. So the messaging is off, right? We had the whole locker room incident. It was all disaster. It was literally a meme. This whole season was a joke. And Sixer fans are already checked out right now. If you don't come back and play strong, and look, maybe this could be a blessing in disguise. Maybe nobody even talks about the Sixers going into next year and they slide their way back up into the top 3. I don't think I necessarily agree with Daryl Morey's take on what it takes to build a contender moving forward. I think he has some of the right ideas, but he is still adamant on building around the top 3. And it's fair to say we never saw that potential. If Joel, PG, and Maxey are healthy, then sure, great, wonderful. Then we can actually see it in action. I think it's a pretty good fit. But the 3-star models don't work. You have no room for error. When a guy goes down, you can't replace him, and you're doomed. And every year, this entire roster is depleted with injuries. So unless you fix the medical staff, I don't know how that's going to change. At the end of the day, Daryl Morey got open. He said a lot. I respect him for going out there and facing the public. Sometimes maybe things shouldn't be said, but nonetheless, it is now or never. It already feels like we're past the point, but Daryl Morey better hope and pray. He better hope and pray the Sixers find a way to rejuvenate themselves. If not, say goodbye. Give me your thoughts down below on this press conference and all these quotes. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. As always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.